Hi, it's Alyssa here. A topic which comes up regularly for us is about how to handle an autistic meltdown. Now, autistic meltdowns are overwhelming. We often have parents or teachers or support people tell us how handling a meltdown can be absolutely exhausting. But let me tell you, having been on both sides, it's never as exhausting as it is for the autistic person themselves. We know that it's really hard work. And we definitely feel for somebody who's going through the process. So what is a meltdown? Well, meltdowns generally happen when a person is overloaded. And some of the more common causes of overload that we come across and that we experience ourselves are things like sensory stimulation, and that could be things like noise or light or smell. It could be socializing challenges. It could be communication challenges or change to routine or the environment, or it could be even things like overscheduling of daily activities or other stresses that are going on in life. And sometimes, or often, it can be a layered effect of one thing after the other after the other. So a combination of all of these things together. Now, the very best way to handle a meltdown is actually take steps to stop a meltdown before it even happens. We suggest that you think about how to reduce what's going to cause overload. So this is about thinking through what can you put in place. Things like schedules, having routines organised, having options for visual communication or formats for communication that everybody can access, having sensory friendly environments, ensuring that you use things like social scripts if you need to, providing social choice for people so that they're not in situations that are going to be too much for them, and having pre-warning for changes and those sorts of things. We also think that it's really valuable to teach emotional regulation. So this is about helping someone to be able to predict emotional overload ahead of time. Now, there is quite a process involved in this, but it's definitely something to work towards. It's also worthwhile setting up systems of support so that if a meltdown happens, you've got things in place that you can work with straight away. And it's to support that meltdown not even happening in the first place. But what do you do if a meltdown happens? Well, if you're supporting a person through meltdown, then we suggest you try some of the following. Perhaps think about providing that safe environment. So if a person's in meltdown, and for yourself as well, making sure that everything around them is safe for them, that you've got nothing that they might hurt themselves on or that you might be hurt on either. Use really positive language for all of those people involved. It's not a time to be using negative language or to be using judgmental language of any sort. And limit your language to only what is necessary. Too much talking while somebody is in meltdown can just draw out the situation. It can exacerbate the problem. And in all likelihood, the person isn't going to be taking in very much anyway. So it's probably pointless talking. Don't teach anything during meltdown. Leave any sort of debriefing or teaching until a person is fully recovered. We suggest that you use sensory aids if they're required to help the person with regulating their own body and working through that process of feeling more calm within themselves. And it's also important to provide plenty of rest and rehydration, and to provide access to interests or passions during recovery time to help make that as smooth as you possibly can. But above all, remember that a person in meltdown is not choosing to be in that state or to be that way, and that having a supporting environment will always help with a faster recovery, as well as helping towards building trusting relationships for everyone involved.